Alright, I'm home alone, so I thought I would do a serious video in a different area of my house. This is actually the dining room, but it's facing the kitchen because that's where the lighting was the best because the sun's coming through here and everything. I need to have a serious talk with people that don't seem to understand freedom of speech and the freedom of speech laws in America, because not every country has freedom of speech laws. And yet I noticed on the internet, it doesn't matter what country they're from, whether they're from England or Canada or whatever, or if they are from America, they are Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, whatever. Everybody seems to whine at some point about being censored on the internet and their freedom of speech being violated. Guys, freedom of speech only means the U.S. government can't tell you to shut up. That's it. That's it. It does not mean individually owned corporations like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, what have you. Does not mean that they can't punish you, ban you, delete your account, what have you. It does not mean that at all. It does not mean that an individual who is not part of the government, like myself, can't tell you to shut your mouth, you're stupid, you're wrong, here's the actual facts. It doesn't mean that I can't report you if you are being racist, homophobic, anti-Semitic, what have you. You are not guaranteed freedom of speech from privately owned companies and private individuals. It only means government officials. For instance, when Donald Trump was president, he was actually taken to court because of him blocking people on Twitter, because that was a violation of the freedom of speech because he was the U.S. president. So he could not block anybody on any social media platform because he was a government official. Recently, the city of Irvine in California settled a lawsuit because a former city council member on her personal Facebook page had posted a political post about how they were not going to defund the police. Please excuse me, my nose itches. They were not going to defund the police, and people got angry with her. And once again, this was her personal Facebook page, not her government Facebook page, but she made a political post and a political statement on her personal Facebook page. And she was a city council member at the time. And in fact, I believe she was the mayor. And people got upset with her, and her response was to block them. Well, that violated their rights to freedom of speech because she was a government representative who made a political post on her personal page, and then she blocked people. If she had not been in the government at the time, if she had not been on the city council, if she was not making a post from the point of view of the city council, it would have been okay for her to block people. It was not okay because, once again, she was on the city council and made a political statement on her page. Therefore, she had no right to block anyone. The former mayor of my city, no matter how many times he was harassed and called names online and false accusations, flat out slander against him, he never blocked anybody. Our current mayor, however, she's a piece of work. I don't know why people voted her in again, because she's an idiot, and she actually got recalled once because she bullied city staff so much that city staff turnover is just at an all-time high. You know, they can hardly keep anybody in the positions because she keeps bullying people until they quit. And she thinks she's going to be Orange County supervisor? She has blocked people I know of who've spoken up against her on Twitter. So she better watch out. And she's supposed to be a lawyer. Ugh. Because, once again, she is currently our mayor, even though she shouldn't be, because she's just terrible. So she cannot block people that speak out against her because that is a violation of their freedom of speech because she is a government representative. She is a mayor. If she was a private individual speaking as a private individual, then she would have every right to block people. Because I have blocked people, because I am a private individual. Now, if I ever was voted to the city council, the first thing I would do is I would unblock everyone, even the anti-vaxxers who have sent me death threats. Because as a government member, I would have to do that legally. I cannot violate people's freedom of speech if I was in the government, but I am a private individual. Another example, I got banned from Twitter permanently. Now what happened was, for those of you who know, I had to go private on Instagram because I was getting death threats from anti-vaxxers, and Instagram wouldn't do anything about it, even when I reported it. They wouldn't delete their accounts or anything, so I just finally went ahead and just went private to get some relief from both them and the chubby chasers, because those guys are disgusting. I don't want to see your itty bitty teeny weeny you-know-what's-it. But I would make pro-vaccine tweets that were not aimed at anybody in particular, pro-GMO tweets that were not actually aimed at anybody in particular, or I may make tweets that had nothing to do with vaccines. One time I was talking about Susan Smith. She's the woman who murdered her children because her boyfriend wouldn't marry her because she had children from a prior relationship, and then lied and said she had been carjacked by a black man. So she actually tried to start like kind of a racial thing going on while also murdering her children. And I was just simply saying that because I grew up in that era in which she was on trial and everything, anytime a child dies with the parent there, I'm unfortunately suspicious that it may not have been an accident. Simply because of people like Susan Smith and Casey Anthony and the like. And that got reported as harassment, and I got suspended for 9 days. Now, I will admit I made a tasteless joke. For those of you who don't know who Del Bigtree is, he is an anti-vaxxer wackadoo who speaks out very loudly against vaccines. He'll actually wear a yellow star, and try to compare vaccines to the Holocaust, which is totally anti-Semitic, completely anti-Semitic. And I was making a joke about how I would like to see him go against Tommy Wiseau on that old TV show Celebrity Boxing and see Tommy win. Because honestly, who wouldn't want to see Tommy Wiseau win against Del Bigtree with his idiotic views and his anti-Semitism, trying to compare himself to concentration camp prisoners and everything. I'm sorry, Del, that's disgusting. That's just as disgusting as PETA comparing eating animals to the Holocaust. They're nothing alike, okay? If you compare vaccines to the Holocaust, or if you compare animal agriculture to the Holocaust, you are anti-Semitic, even if you're Jewish. Even if you're Jewish yourself, you're still anti-Semitic. I mean, just like a gay person can be homophobic, a Jewish person can be anti-Semitic if they're doing crap like that, okay? It's completely possible. But I probably shouldn't have made it, and that's what got me permanently banned. I will say it does make me upset, though, at the hypocrisy, because at the time that I got permanently banned from Twitter, anti-vaxxers Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Rob Schneider were constantly making racist tweets towards Dr. Richard Pan, and totally violating Twitter's terms of service. And so for those of you who don't know Dr. Richard Pan, he is a doctor and a politician here in California who got a law passed in California. It's the only good thing Governor Newsom has done. May the idiot be recalled, and soon. But he got a law passed that parents can no longer get fake medical exemptions from vaccines. They can still refuse vaccines if they really want to murder their children slowly via measles, right? But they can no longer get a fake medical exemption against it. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Rob Schneider got very angry. Now, Dr. Richard Pan happens to be of Asian descent, but he is American born. He's never lived in another country. And they would say things like, go back to Korea, and call him Mao Zedong. They couldn't even get his ethnicity right. And they were just constantly harassing and insulting and threatening. At least in my mind, some of what they said was threats. And yet they still get to be on Twitter. I do know that Instagram banned Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Thank you, Instagram. Please ban the rest of the anti-vaxxer wackadoos so I can go back to having a public profile. But they were allowed to keep their accounts on Twitter while I was banned for a joke. You know, I don't think that's fair. Because I wasn't actually threatening anybody. I wasn't making incredible threats of violence. I wasn't tweeting anything racist. I wasn't tweeting anything homophobic. And yet they still let Kevin Sorbo have an account. So, yeah. But still, Twitter has the right to ban me for that joke. Because Twitter is a privately owned company. They are not a government company. All right? Therefore, I am not protected by freedom of speech laws on Twitter. Neither is anybody else. That vegan teacher was not protected by freedom of speech laws on TikTok. She's not even protected by them in Canada because every Canadian has says we don't have freedom of speech laws here, and that she's actually committed hate speech violations, so she could be arrested and put in jail for a maximum of 10 years just for hate speech alone. And that doesn't even count what she kept doing to Tommy Innit, who is a minor, and yet she was, oh my God, it's disgusting what she was doing, and I can't believe people are defending her on that. Good to know that you're okay with grown women pursuing little boys. I hope you never have a son. So, yeah. You guys need to get it through your heads that freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. Is not guaranteed from private entities. It only means the government, the American government, because I don't know about the laws in other countries. I don't know if like Nigeria or Israel or France or anything has any sort of freedom of speech laws like we have in the USA. But I do know under USA law, freedom of speech simply means that President Biden can't show up at your house and say you need to shut up because he is the president. And therefore he has no right to tell the individuals to shut up. Not until he becomes a private citizen. Just like Donald Trump, he cannot block anyone on Twitter or any other social media site as long as he is the U.S. president. Same for any government official. Same for any government official from the highest to the lowest. But it does mean that a private company like Twitter, like Facebook, like YouTube, like Instagram, like, unfortunately, Parler, which I kind of am tempted to join just to see how long it takes for them to ban me for pro-vaccine tweets, because Larry Cook, who is an anti-vaxxer wackadoo as well, and I believe Del Bigtree as well, has gone to Parler ever since they got banned from Facebook. I would just like to see, I'm betting that it would take less than 24 hours for Parler to ban me. But Parler would have every right to ban me because they are not a government-owned social media site. Now, if the U.S. government owned a social media site, they would not be allowed to ban you for, unless, of course, you were posting something really disgusting like child porn. Then they'd have every right to ban you and arrest you, because that's completely different. But if you were just saying, hey, I think that the states that are banning abortion are disgusting, they would have no right to ban you, right? They have no right to remove your message. But as long as it is a privately owned company, they have every right to do it. So please, please, people, you need to understand, freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. It doesn't. It really, honest to God, doesn't. Thank you. And Vaccines save lives.